In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Adobe Illustrator to make this cute ear of corn. Start off by going to File, New, and Web Minimum, and title it Corn, and click Create. On the blank document, look for the Shape tools and click to expand the options and select the Ellipse tool. I'm going to drag out a nice oval to be the base shape for the corn. I'm going to change the stroke to none and then click to bring the fill forward. To see my colors, I will go to Window, Swatches, and in the Swatches panel, I'll click this side menu, go to Open Swatch Library, Color Books, and a palette that I like is True Match. You can use other palettes if you wish. So in True Match, I'm going to choose a nice golden yellow color, maybe this one, to color my corn. Next, I'm going to use the Direct Selection tool, which is the white arrow, and I'm going to click right here on this anchor point down at the bottom. I'm going to drag out the side handles here to make the base of the corn a little wider. Something like that. Next, I'm going to add the kernel shapes to it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is deselect my corn. So I'm just going to click off of it. Now I'm going to flip my colors with the swap arrow right here. Click to bring the stroke forward and choose a darker color, maybe something like this. And I can always change it later if it doesn't look good. Next, I'm going to select the pen tool. I'm going to click one time at the top of the corn and then one time at the bottom of the corn. And you can see that the pen tool has this little tail on it. Hit Enter and that will go away. Now I'm going to do that a couple more times. Click, click, Enter, maybe two more times. Click, click, Enter, click, click, Enter. Now I'm going to do the same or similar on this side. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Click, click, Enter, click, click, Enter, and one more. Click, click, Enter. All right, now in my Layers panel, Window, Layers, I'm going to open this little side menu right here and scroll down, and in this blank box right here, I'm going to click it and put a padlock. So it locks the ear of corn, but I can still select my my lines. So with the the selection tool, which is the black arrow, I'm going to click and drag a box around these so that they're all selected. Now I'm going to go to Window and get my brushes. And in my brushes menu, I'm going to click to open the side options, go to Open Brush Library, Artistic, and I'm going to choose Ink. So here are my ink brush options, and one that I like is this dry ink number 1. Feel free to experiment with other brushes if you wish. So you can see it gives it this kind of irregular edge, but it doesn't look like corn kernels yet. So what I'm going to do is distort it. So with the line still selected, I'm going to go to Effect, Distort and Transform, Roughen. And by playing around with this, I noticed that for my corn, 2 looks good for the size, and for the detail, 20 looks good. And the points need to be smooth. And to see those changes that you made, simply click Preview, and that looks pretty good. Your numbers might be slightly different, so go ahead and experiment until you find the numbers that look good for you. Okay, now to give this a little bit of dimension, I'm going to copy this and make the one behind a lighter color. So to do that, I'm going to open my layers. So Window, Layers, and I'm going to, well, actually they're already selected. I can tell because they have blue boxes next to them. So with those all selected, I'm going to go to Object, Group. So now they're all together in one group here. I'm going to click that group and drag it down here to the Copy button and let go, so now I have two of them. I'm going to click on the bottom one, click inside this little circle right here so that the blue square goes next to this group, so I know for sure that's the one that's selected. Now I'm going to choose a lighter color. I'll try this one and see how it looks. And I can't really see any changes yet. Now I'm going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard and just go a couple of clicks to the left and see how that looks. Well, I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to maybe try a couple of different colors. And I think, yeah, I think that looks pretty good right there. So it gives it a little bit of dimensionality to have the different values in there. The next thing that I'm going to do is add the leaves on the outside. So I will choose my colors first. So I'll make sure that none of my objects are selected. Then I'll go over and click the swap arrow so that the fill is set to none. I'm sorry, the stroke is set to none, and then I'll click to bring the fill forward. I'll choose a nice green color. Let's see, maybe this one right here. And with the ellipse tool selected, I'll drag out a shape here on the side. And I think I'm going to move that a little bit closer here. Then I'll get the direct selection tool, click right on that top anchor point so that my handles pop out. I'm going to grab this handle and just twist it to the bottom so that I get this leaf shape here. Now I'll grab this bottom anchor point, move it over here, drag this handle out a bit, and I'm just basically going to shape it until I like the way it looks so that it conforms to the, whoopsies, undo that, conforms to the shape of my corn. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So ellipse tool, drag out an oval, use the direct selection tool to click on the top anchor point, grab the little handle, there we go, twist it, and move the whole thing a little closer. Bottom anchor point, and just adjust these until it fits. There we go. That looks pretty good there. And now I'm going to put the stalk on the bottom. So back to my shape tools. This time I'll grab the rounded rectangle tool and just click and drag out a stalk. And in my layers, I can see that the stalk is on top of the leaves and I want it to go underneath. So what I'm going to do is use a keyboard shortcut. So hold down Control or Command on a Mac and then use the bracket keys, and the one next to the P, every time you hit it, it sends whatever object is selected back one down the list a little bit. So you can see that the rectangle is now underneath the leaves. All right, so I'm actually going to go ahead and lock all of these for the next step so I don't accidentally select something that I don't want to. So I'm going to put some lines on these leaves. So with the pen tool, go ahead and select that. I'm going to use the swapper arrow to swap these colors and then click to bring the stroke forward, and I'll try a little bit of a lighter green. I can change it later if I don't like the way it looks. And I'm going to draw some lines on here. So I will click and drag this time. Click and drag, and as I move these around, I'm trying to follow the shape of the leaf a little bit. So click and drag down here at the bottom, click and drag, and then to stop it, hit enter. So I'm going to put about 3 of these on each side. So at the end, hit enter, and then I'll put one more here on the edge, enter. Now I'll go ahead and do this side. Enter. So click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, enter. Maybe I'll just go with 2 on that side. Now with the selection tool, I'll just draw a box around all of these, and since everything else is locked, the only thing that's being selected is the lines. I'm going to go ahead and use my same dry ink number 1 from my brushes, and I like that, but I don't like the color so much, so let me try a couple of other ones. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to click off of it to deselect it. Yeah, I like the way that looks. So now, oh, looks like I missed a line right here. You know what? I think I'm just going to delete that. There we go. Now I'm going to add my face onto that. So I will click the default settings on this, use the swap arrow to make the black the fill. I'll change the stroke to none. Then I will go back to my shape tools and get the ellipse tool. If you hold down shift, it constrains the ellipse tool to be a circle. So there's one eye, and I'll use the selection tool. Hold down Alt on the keyboard and drag a copy. Draw a box around these, and I'll put them over here on my ear of corn. Now I'm going to make the mouth. So again, with the ellipse tool, hold down shift to make a circle, and make another one, holding down shift, approximately the same size above it. Selection tool, overlap those, draw a box around both to select it, and then get our old friend Pathfinder under Windows. And the second selection over, minus front, makes a cute little mouth. We'll move that over here. Maybe resize it a little bit. And there we go, our finished ear of corn. So go ahead and save that to your student drive and turn in the project so that you can get credit for it. That's it for this video.